1,000 years after the Great Hyperspace War, the legacy of the old Sith Empire lived on through Satal and Alima Keto, the chosen successors of the Dark Lord Freedon Nad. Nad, who ruled as King of Onderon, passed on the knowledge of the ancient Sith, including the secrets of darkside sorcery and alchemy, taught to him by Naga Sadow, the last Dark Lord of the old Empire. Through the Krath, a secret society of their own creation, the Ketos trained others in the dark side and formed an army to embark upon a holy crusade against the Jedi and Republic, staging a coup against the government of their parents to become the rulers of the Empress Teta system. Joining the Ketos in bringing about the resurgence of the Sith was the Jedi Ulic Qel-Droma, who witnessed the death of his master at the hands of the Krath and turned to the dark side after being captured in the pursuit of vengeance. Yet before the Ketos decided what to do with him, the spirit of their Sith master Freedon Nad appeared one last time, warning them about another of his students, Exar Kun, who betrayed him after being trained in the dark side. He then declared that Satal, Alima, and Qel-Droma were the true heirs to his legacy. Though he was quickly becoming a master of the dark side, Exar Kun was once a Jedi on the world of Dantooine, where he trained under Master Vodo Siosk Bas. Brilliant, willful, and determined, Exar became a powerful Force user, easily besting his fellow students in lightsaber combat. Growing arrogant in his skills, he believed he was ready for more advanced teachings and grew curious about the ancient Sith. As his master was unwilling to disclose the information, Exar snuck into his room and opened his personal holocron, learning about Freedon Nad, the Sith Lord who ruled as King of Onderon. After a confrontation in which Exar Kun nearly struck down a fellow student with a lightsaber in anger, he fought a duel against his master, who wielded a simple quarterstaff imbued with his own Force energy. Though Bas quickly defeated his student, Exar reached out with the Force and brought himself a second lightsaber, using the combination to pummel his enemy into submission. The Jedi then left Dantooine to continue his investigation into the Sith. Posing as an archaeologist, he tried to convince the Jedi of Onderon to show him the relics they took from the former Nodist rulers of the planet, but was denied and exposed by Master Arca Jeth, who knew his true identity. Undeterred, Exar Kun took his investigation into the streets of Isis, and found two loyalists to the old regime who led him to the tomb of Freedon Nad on the moon of Duxin. Empowered by the dark side presence, Exar Kun was able to break through Mandalorian iron to reach the tomb, where the spirit of Freedon Nad appeared, and gave him a scroll written by Naga Sadow that revealed the location of the old Sith homeworld of Korriban. Despite being fascinated by this forbidden knowledge, Kun wanted to remain a Jedi in service to the light side, yet found himself quickly embracing the dark side when he killed the Nodists who tried to rob him as he left the tomb. Traveling to Korriban, the spirit of Freedon Nad trapped the Jedi inside a temple and brought down the roof to break his bones, forcing him to accept the dark side to survive. Tortured by the excruciating effects of dark side healing, his pain rippled out and was felt by Force users all across the galaxy. At the exact moment this was occurring, the Krath launched an attack against the Jedi on Deneba, killing Master Arca Jeth, who died in the arms of his former apprentice Ulic Qel-Droma, setting him down the path of vengeance that led to the dark side. Fully restored and flowing with dark energy, Exar Kun felt greater than ever before, but was adamant that he was still a Jedi and not bound to the dark side. Yet when he traveled to Yavin 4 to continue his studies, he learned he was no longer able to channel the light side of the Force, and so was captured by the native Massassi. Offered up as a blood sacrifice, Exar Kun had to fully embrace the dark side, reaching out with the Force to take the Sith talisman being used by the Massassi leader, and using it to channel and amplify his attacks, destroying the Sith worm they set upon him. His display was so impressive, Freedon Nad congratulated his apprentice, before saying they must now turn to the work of Sith alchemy in order to prepare a physical body for the Dark Lord's return. But Exar had tired of his master, who constantly tested and deceived him, and so used the power of the talisman to destroy his spirit. Nad then appeared one last time before the Ketos to warn them about this rogue student before fading away. Having defeated the Sith worm and destroyed the spirit of Freedon Nad, Exar Kun won the loyalty of the Massassi and was proclaimed their Dark Lord, becoming the ruler of Yavin 4. Using his newly acquired servants to build more temples and shrines dedicated to the dark side, his exploration of the moon led to the discovery of Naga Sadow's alchemy lab. Studying the Dark Lord's work, he learned the ancient knowledge of Sith alchemy and started to transform his Massassi into force-wielding war beasts, while also creating a number of new dark side creatures like Tarantatex. Eventually, he left the moon and traveled to Sinagar, planning to eliminate Freedon Nad's other students, only to learn that Satal Keto was killed by Keldroma in a fit of rage, and he was now leading the Krath, alongside his lover Alima Keto. Quickly knocking the woman unconscious, Exar Kun engaged Ulik Keldroma in a lightsaber battle, with neither able to gain the advantage. However, they soon realized that each of them wore a half of the same Sith talisman, which started to glow and summoned forth the spirit of Marka Ragnos, the Dark Lord who ruled during the Golden Age of the Sith Empire. Stunned and in awe of his presence, they stopped fighting and listened to him proclaim them both as prophesied heirs to the legacy of the Sith, with Exar Kun named as Dark Lord and Keldroma as his first and foremost apprentice. When the spirit vanished, the hostility between the men was gone, and they clasped hands, vowing to take down the galaxy together. After striking a bargain to bring about a new golden age for the Sith, Exar Kun and Ulik Keldroma separated and spent the next 6 months preparing for an invasion of the Republic. Believing they needed more allies trained as Sith, the Dark Lord traveled to Ossus, where he pretended to still be a Jedi and made grandiose claims about wanting to reveal ancient secrets the Masters kept hidden. Intrigued by his words and displays of power, 20 young Jedi were swayed to follow him. However, he could not fool the old master Odan Ur, who guarded a Sith holocron, which immediately sensed Exar's dark side aura. Taking the holocron, the Dark Lord then killed Odan Ur when he tried to resist, afterwards telling the others that the master died of old age. Meanwhile, Ulik Keldroma focused on recruiting a substantial army to challenge the might of the Republic, growing their forces in the Empress Teta system as they expanded their holdings. Yet a unique opportunity presented itself when Sinagar was attacked by Mandalore the Indomitable, leader of the famous Mandalorians, a warrior culture entirely devoted to the idea of personal glory in combat. However, instead of a devastating battle between their forces, Mandalore challenged Ulik Keldroma to single combat to the death, with the winner emerging as the undisputed ruler of both factions. Though Mandalore fought valiantly, Keldroma emerged victorious, choosing to spare his opponent's life in order to take advantage of his vast military experience, making him a general in the coming war. With both the Krath and Mandalorians behind him, Keldroma then led an attack against Foros, capturing 300 of the Republic's newest warships. With both Sith Lords making progress, they communicated but found themselves at odds with how to move forward. Exar made it clear he wanted to slowly build up their forces and launch a well-thought-out, large-scale, multi-pronged attack to ensure total victory. But his apprentice wanted to attack at once, maximizing the effect of their existing forces, with strategy and Sith magic to capture Coruscant, capital of the Republic. Keldroma was also angered by how little his Sith master accomplished during their time apart, having gathered only 20 Jedi who were not yet trained in the dark side, as opposed to the 2 massive armies and fleet gathered by the apprentice. Believing that Exar's smaller group of Jedi would make little difference in the outcome of the war, Keldroma insisted on attacking Coruscant without them, and while he still thought it a mistake, the Dark Lord saw he would not be dissuaded and agreed to the plan, but also warned that he would continue on without them should they fail. Taking his Jedi followers to Yavin 4, Exar crushed the Sith holocron taken from Odan Ur, releasing the remnants of the ancient Sith trapped within, causing the shattered pieces to explode out and embed themselves in the skin of 19 Jedi, imbuing them with the dark side to form the Brotherhood of the Sith. The only one left unaffected was the Cathar Kratos, who was already loyal to Exar, as they were apprentices together on Dantooine years earlier. While the Dark Lord worked to train and prepare his Sith followers, Keldroma, Mandalore, and Alima Keto went on to strike at the heart of the Republic, using sorcery to distract and confuse the enemy while they attacked with all their strength. Yet as the battle raged on and Keldroma made his way towards the enemy war room, his lover Alima Keto betrayed him by falsely telling Mandalore the battle was lost, the Sith Lord was dead, and they must pull out at once to save as much of their forces as possible. With his armies retreating, Keldroma was left almost entirely alone on Coruscant, and was soon surrounded and captured by a number of powerful Jedi, including his brother Kay and former love interest Nomi Sunrider. Retreating to the Empress Teta system, the Sith army of Keldroma was now under the command of Alima Keto, with Mandalore the Indomitable as her general. However, the Mandalorian was disturbed by what happened on Coruscant, and upon hearing that Keldroma was merely captured and not killed, wanted to launch a rescue operation at once. However, Alima refused and instead issued new attack orders. Suspecting betrayal, Mandalore relayed her orders and then set off on his own to Yavin 4, seeking Exar Kun's assistance to rescue Cal Droma. The Dark Lord agreed, but before departing, left orders for his students to track down and kill their former Jedi Masters. Exar then decided to turn their rescue operation into a grand display of power and dominance for the Republic by traveling directly to Coruscant and bursting into the Senate House to interrupt the trial of his Sith apprentice. Using sorcery to freeze the spectators in place, the Dark Lord murdered Chancellor Sidrona before fighting and killing his former master, Vodo Siosk Bas, with a double-bladed lightsaber based on a design from the old Sith Empire. Before passing away, the old Jedi declared they would one day fight again, and he would have victory. Announcing before the entire Senate that the Sith Brotherhood was now in control of the galaxy, Exar, Cal Droma, and Mandalore casually walked out of the building, leaving the government in chaos. In order to deal with the traitor Alima, they sent her on a suicide mission to detonate a series of supernovas in the Kron star cluster, destroying everything in the area. In spite of his devotion, Kratos was also sent to die, as he was proving weak and quickly becoming an annoyance. As the shockwave of destruction spread through space, the Sith Lords went to the nearby world of Ossus, taking advantage of the emergency evacuation to loot the Great Jedi Library. However, Ulic Qel-Droma was confronted once again by his brother Kay, who begged him to return to the light side. Blinded by rage, Ulic killed his brother, only to immediately collapse in regret, crying over the fallen corpse. Nomi Sunrider, having witnessed the murder, erupted in anger and lashed out at Qel-Droma with a powerful attack, blocking his ability to summon the Force. After successfully robbing the library, Exar was unwilling to wait any longer for his apprentice, and departed the planet, returning to Yavin 4. Unfortunately for the Dark Lord, Qel-Droma's capture was not the only failure in their plan, as Mandalore was sent on a separate mission to conquer Onderon, but faced fierce resistance from the local Beast Riders, who delayed the battle long enough for Republic reinforcements to arrive. Facing defeat, Mandalore refused to surrender and led his troops to the moon of Duxon so they might disappear into the jungles and continue the struggle. Unfortunately, their leader died on the moon, leading one of his warriors to pick up his mask and continue their traditions by declaring himself the new Mandalore. After murdering his brother and being stripped of the Force, Ulic Qel-Droma was utterly devastated but no longer bound to the dark side, and so revealed the location of Yavin 4 and vowed to help the Jedi stop Exar Kun. In response, Jedi from all over the Republic gathered together and traveled with such overwhelming force, the Dark Lord did not stand a chance. Understanding he was defeated, Exar decided to perform a powerful ritual, sacrificing the lives of thousands of his Misasi warriors to shed the confines of his body and become an immortal spirit. Before the Jedi could even launch their attack, they saw a huge shockwave sweep across the planet, causing the forest to burst into flames, devastating the landscape. Seeing no way for Exar Kun to have survived the destruction, the Jedi retreated, but the ritual had actually worked, and the Dark Lord survived as a spirit, trapped within his great temple. Later, when Ulic Qel-Droma returned to Yavin 4 to sift through the rubble, Exar Kun sensed him and tried to communicate, but his former apprentice no longer felt the Force and heard nothing. With the Sith Lords defeated, as well as Mandalore and Alima dead, the Krath and Sith Brotherhood quickly fell apart, and the Republic recaptured the Empress Teta system. However, the legacy of the Sith and Exar Kun lived on, as the Great Sith War set the stage for the Second Sith War, a few decades later, led by Revan and Malak. As for the spirit of the Dark Lord, it remained for thousands of years on Yavin 4, until 1 ABY, when he was awoken by a team of archaeologists from Corellia University, who were then corrupted to the dark side and formed the cult of Exar Kun. Yet when Professor Cornelius Wagglehorn learned the fate of the expedition, he hired a team of spacers to destroy the cult. A few years later, in 11 ABY, Exar's spirit, which still possessed dark side powers, reached out through the Force to haunt the dreams of a young man named Gantoris, who was later recruited by Luke Skywalker to join the new Jedi Order. When they went to train on Yavin 4, Exar continued to reach out to Gantoris, hoping to turn him to the dark side, but instead he was incinerated when he resisted. The Dark Lord next moved on to the Jedi recruit Kip Duron, a powerful Force user with a deep hatred for the Empire. Exploiting these negative feelings, Exar turned him against Master Skywalker, and he departed the planet to train as a Sith Lord, before returning to Yavin 4 in search of an Imperial superweapon known as the Sun Crusher. When Luke Skywalker tried to stop him, the spirit of Exar Kun appeared and helped his apprentice defeat the Jedi Master, able to tear his spirit from its body, which was left comatose. Durin then departed and went on a rampage against the remnants of the Empire, while Exar continued to attempt corrupting the minds of other Jedi students on Yavin 4, determined to destroy Skywalker once and for all. However, the Jedi students retaliated and stood together alongside Jacen Solo, Luke Skywalker's spirit, and the ancient ghost of Vodo Siosk Bas, which returned as prophesied, to face his former apprentice Exar Kun, and finally destroy the Dark Lord's spirit. Love audiobooks? Then be sure to check out Audible, where they have the world's largest collection available. Simply sign up through the link in the description box below, and get 2 free audiobooks to start out. A special thanks to all those who contribute to CivilizationEx, like Magic the Shaman, Arhael the Silent Blade, the Smiling Cow, and the Spectral Knight. If you'd like to help CivilizationEx, click on the Patreon link, and please be sure to like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and click on the links to see more.